Okay. Ketzad Mocheres says that a woman, she could sell the assets of the Yisomim for a ksuba and for a mazonos. We're talking about the chosim and echorim. See, a woman can't collect from shubodim. That means some lien properties for the mazonos for a support. But if in the estate they're free property, she can sell it off from mazonos. Ketzad Mocheres. Now the question: how much she sell? How much do we allow her to sell? She's a widow, so the estate has to support her. Let's say the 10 fields left. Could she sell off all 10 fields from mazonos? In what increments do we allow her to sell? So we'll see them, and we allow her to sell off enough to cover her for a certain period of time. Ketzad Mocheres. Amar Rav Daniel bar Rav Katina. Amar Rav Huna. Mocheres osa achas l'shnei masa chodesh. She sells a field for 12 months. Meaning to cover 12 months of support. Ulokeach. And they take the money. She can't take the whole money at one time. But what do? The parnis, the one who was like the administrator, he gives her 30-day allocation. Even though it was sold for a year, there's a year's worth of to cover mazonos. We only give her 30 days at a time to cover 30-day allocation, allotment. He's like an apitropos. That's the parnis, right? Okay. We only let us sell off enough for 6 months, to cover 6 months worth of food. And the same thing. The parnas gives it 30-day allotments, allocation, cover. So it's a machlokas. Did he sell it for a year, or did he sell it for a year's worth, or 6 months worth? We have one bright supports Rafuna. He sold it off for a year's worth of food. He sells for 6 months. Okay, now how do we rule? Is it for 6 months or for 12 months? We rule. You sell for 6 months. Right? Everybody agrees. The allotment you give her is no more than a 30-day allotment. But factually, is it 6 months or 12 months? You only let her sell off to cover 6 months, not 12 months. Okay?
She sells it off.
What?
She sells it off?
She sells it. Well, she has a right to the property. She says, I need money, so she takes the property. She sells it. What does she sell it? She sells it for mazonos. No. The ksuba is if she wants to get married, so they have to pay the ksuba. The land is lien. Their property is committed to the ksuba and to support her. Right? They have to give her food, cover her residence, her food, her living expenses. Okay? So he says, Maimer says, we rule 6 months, meaning we rule like Rav Yehuda at 6 months. Ravash says to Ramemar, the Rav Huna Mike, what do you say, 6 months? What about Rav Huna's position? Rav Huna says, we're on 97a. What about Rav Huna says it's a year, so why are you ruling 6 months? Omale, so Amema says, Lo Shamiali. What is Lo Shamimi? I didn't hear it. Kloimar Lo Svirli. I don't accept this position. I accept, review this position. We allow to sell for 6 months, not for a year. Boimenem Rav Sheshes. Listen to this. A question was posed to Rav Sheshes. Mocheres lebezoros mao shetarsav teacher of l'chsuba. Yeah? If she sold it originally for mizonos, do we allow her to tarsav teacher of l'chsuba? We're talking about the Yisom. This is the estate. Okay? Here what happens. Very interesting shayla. Now, the halacha is like this normally. Mizonos, that's her support. It's not a fixed amount. Each woman has different financial needs, different residence, different clothing, different food. So therefore, you can only collect mizonos, for her personal support only from properties that were not sold off. It's only the property that's in the estate. The heirs have to support her. What about the husband sold off properties? When he was alive, they sold off the property. She can't go after those properties for personal needs. Because never know. You see, the whole idea when a person buys property, you could do your due diligence, say, look, it's liened for a certain amount of money. But Mizonos, it's an unending number. It's not a clear number. Therefore, they said it's not fair. So you can only collect if the properties are still in the estate. If they were sold off, you can't collect from properties. What about the ksuba? Ksuba is a fixed amount, right? When he got married, he said he'll give us so much money. So you know, it's not a number that expands. So therefore, when they bought the property, they knew the property was linked to that debt. So ksuba, you're able to go after a property that was sold off. It's liened, but mizonos not. So listen, interesting shayla. A woman went, and we say she sold the property for mizonos. That she could. She needed money, so she sold the property. Now she gets mizonos. After she sells it for mizonos, now there's not enough property to cover a ksuba in the estate. So could she go after that property that she sold for mizonos from the buyer to collect the ksuba?
Which one should get first? Ksuba or
No, mizon. Once she collects ksuba, she's out the door. Ksuba means you're ready to get married. The moment you collect ksuba, the yisomim will give you nothing. No residence, no food, no clothing, nothing. That means you're on your own. You're on your own. She's living as a widow. She is the widow of their father. So it says in ksuba, as long as you're my widow, you'll be supported. Okay? The moment she says, I want to collect the ksuba, it's over. So if she first sells off the property for, what's his name, to cover her living expenses. So now, but that property is linked to the ksuba. Now she goes, there's not enough money to collect the ksuba from the free estate. So do we allow her now to collect the property from that she sold off? But we're talking, this is the property she sold. But we're talking about she sold the property with a guarantee. Right? Property is sold. Nobody lives and buy property with a guarantee. That means if it's taken, they're coming back. So did they come back at her, or did they come back to the Yisomim to collect? Right? We'll see. That's going to be the question. So Mar says, Kiboy. That's the question. Can't she make a claim against what she sold off? Now she's back again. Yeah, Kamiboy li Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef says, Armlato dezovn achrayus ayasmi. Hear this? When the widow sells off her property with a guarantee, who has to cover that guarantee? The Yisomim, the heirs, they're bound. Normally you sell a property with a guarantee. So what happens if, let's say, now the creditor takes the property away? Who do they come after? The seller. So it says if a widow sells off her property from his owners, and let's say now there's going to be a creditor of the father, a third creditor takes away that property, who do they come after? They don't come after the woman. She says, when I sold off the property, it's because your father owed me. So she's not really, so they say the responsibility to compensate the buyer is the estate of the orphans, of the heirs, right? No, not the guy. The guy who bought the property wants to be compensated. His property was taken away, let's say, by their father's creditor. So who do they come after? They come after the kids. They come back to the estate. You know, we're sold with a guarantee, so you got to give me my money back. What about she sold off a property from Mizonos? They let us sell off property from Mizonos. Says, look, we have different properties. Take this property, sell it off from Mizonos. She sells it off, and she sells it with a guarantee. Now their father's creditor takes that property away from the buyer. The one who bought it was she, and she received money to cover her expenses. Who does that buyer go to? It goes to the heirs, no question. Right? It goes to the heirs to compensate him for the money that he paid to give him back his money. He bought it with a guarantee. Right? Now the question is, Armalta dezovin achrayis ayasmi. Beidino dios zovin. What about if the bezdin sold on her behalf? Bezdin sold properties. Achrayis ayasmi. The guarantee, who's responsible to guarantee it? Again, the Yisomim. The heirs. Originally it was part of the estate. I know, but she had a right to sell it. So the question is, so it's not, let's say a third party came after the property. The Yisomim, the heirs, they have to reimburse the buyer of the property. If Bezdin sells from the estate, again, the Bezdin doesn't reimburse him. They go to the Yisomim. Now the question is, Kevon dachrai say yasmi tirfo. So maybe we say, so maybe here now she sold the property originally from Zonos, And now she needs ksuba. She wants to collect the ksuba. So now she's the seller. Now she's going after the property for a ksuba. Does she have a right to collect it? She said, why not? She's no different than another creditor. So we allow her to collect. And again, who's going to be responsible to guarantee it? The Yisomim, right? Because we said, why she should be different than the third creditor? If she sold him his own, now the father's creditor came and collected the property. Who has to cover? The heirs, right? The Yisomim, the orphans. So now she sells it from Zonos, which she has a right, but that property is linked to a ksuba. Now she goes after for the ksuba. But she sold it with a guarantee. But who is responsible for that guarantee? The Yisomim. So what? She'll collect the ksuba now, and the buyer will go back to the Yisomim to be reimbursed. Oh, Dilma, no. Motzi Omar Lo. They could say to her, the Yisomim could say to the woman, Nidach rais di almo lo kabilos aloch. Meaning, when you sell it from your owners, let's say our father's creditor comes and takes it, that you never agreed to be responsible for, right? What does your father's creditor have to do with me? I sold it for my mizonos. Your father was obligated to give me mizonos to cover my living expenses. Now your father's creditor takes it. I never accepted upon myself that responsibility to reimburse the buyer, right? Because that's your father's creditor. Therefore, who has the responsibility? The Yisomim, the heirs. But here, you're the one you're the creditor. Here, you're taking it back. So maybe over here, when you gave the guarantee means you're responsible. So therefore, you're accomplishing nothing by taking the property. You're going to have to reimburse it. It's not the financial responsibility is not us; it's on you. Omalei. That's the question. If she goes, does she have to reimburse the buyer, or it's still the obligations on the Yisomim? Omalei, she answered him. That was the shaila they posed. Omalei. Tenisua, we learned in the Bryce. It says in the Bryce, Mocheres oleches at kedek subosa. Now let's say you have an estate, right? So the estate has many properties. It says we allow her to sell off the properties here for her mazonas, for her living expenses, up to the point she has to leave a property in the estate that covers the ksuba. What does that mean? Meaning, but it says you have to leave a property in the state which wasn't sold off enough to cover the ksuba. She sells up to that point. The somach law, and you rely on that property that's left in the estate, shetik v'ksubasa min hashar, and she'll collect the ksuba from what's left over. Let's say the 10 properties. Let's say each one of the properties is enough to cover her ksuba. We allow her to sell off 9 of the properties. The 10th property we don't allow her to sell off. Because we have to leave over 1 to guarantee she's going to be covered by the ksuba. Because if we sell that off, where's she going to get the ksuba from? But the question is, if you're telling me that she could sell and she could collect the ksuba from the property she sold off, let's sell it all off. Here the proof. It says you allow her to sell off everything but 1 property, which is sufficient to cover the ksuba. But if you tell me when she sells it mazonas, we allow her to go back as a creditor to collect from it, leave nothing in the estate, sell off everything, and when she has to be covered with ksuba, she'll go after it. But it doesn't say that. It says you have to leave a property in the estate, so it'll be left when it's time for her to collect the ksuba, she's going to have where to collect it from. But let's say there's nothing left, and she doesn't get it. She doesn't. What?
She doesn't get the ksuba.
Once she gets the ksuba, it's over. There's nothing. No, then she could collect the ksuba. What does she have to gain? What does she have to gain by staying there? She might as well collect the ksuba. Where is she going to collect the ksuba from? From the property that's still left in the estate. Right? Shema bino shaira lo shaira lo. So you see clearly that what? That we only allow her to collect the ksuba from where? If the property was left in the estate. If it was sold off and she collects it, there's a lien, right? Because she has a lien, she's responsible. So you see clearly that she cannot collect. The Yisomim are not responsible for that debt. You got it? This is the last land. This is the last property in the nothing, right? So it says. So, but if you're telling me she has a right to collect from the what, from the ksuba, from the property she sold off from Zonos, What do you have to have anything left in the estate? Let her go after the property, and the Yisomim are responsible to reimburse the, what's it called? The buyer. Someone says, no proof. Listen to why he's no proof. Dil me'etzah tova kamashlan. That we say you leave a property in the state, we're giving you good advice. Why? Lo likru lo hadrano. Because we're going to say, she's like, she backed out on the deal. She's not a trustworthy person. Because what do people say? Here she sells the property. Tomorrow she's come taking it back. So who wants to deal with such a woman? She's a woman. I mean, she's a two-faced person. Therefore, that's the reason. It's not really... The halacha is we allow it. Maybe she can go after the property. But it's good advice to leave a piece of property in the estate, always to guarantee the ksub, because otherwise, word out in the market would be she's a woman who can't be trusted. She's a woman who goes back on her word. Okay? Someone says, okay, listening, govik subosam nashar. It should say she collects the ksub, what's left over. My samach lo. But it says, no, she has to rely on that. The expression rely on that, she has what to rely upon seems to be. Without that, shmami no, shairin lo, shair lo. Somewhere it brings a conclusive proof that the guarantee, if she sells it, she's responsible. Therefore, that's the reason why we leave it over. We don't see her as a father's creditor, but rather, if she gave the guarantee, she's responsible, and the Yisomim are not responsible. Okay? It's good. Iboilo. Listen to the Shiloh. Zovin v'lo tzrichalei. Nu Shiloh. Somebody sells something. V'lo itzrichalei l'zuzi. Lo itzrichalei zuzi. Hodges vini or lo hodges vini. Person sells off property because he believes he needs cash. Because he wants to buy something. After he sells the property, he realizes what he needed the cash for, the opportunity passed, and it's not available. Does the seller have a right to back out on the sale? He says, you know something? I only sold it. It wasn't a conditional sale. If it was a conditional sale, it's understood. I sold it on the condition I could buy something else. If I can't buy that, it's not a sale. Here he sold it. He says, I'm selling because I need money to buy something. Is that level of revealing your intent sufficient to undo the sale? Yiddish question. I sold it because I needed the money. But now that it was revealed whatever was available to purchase was not there, therefore I never meant to sell it. So could he back out or not? Hodges vini or lo hodges vini? Right? Do we undo the sale or don't we undo the sale? Toshma. Dahu gavra de zovin aro lu Rav Papa. You hear the story. This person sold a piece of property to Rav Papa. Ditzchelei lezuze. Person was pressed for money. He needed money, so he sold a piece of property to Rav Papa. Lemizbin turi, to buy a pair of oxen. He needed oxen to plow a field. So the person needed cash. He had no cash. So he sold the property to Rav Papa. He got cash, bought to buy the oxen. L'sof lo itzrichalei. Turned out afterwards he didn't need the oxen. Didn't need them. That means he has the cash. He no longer has the property, but he was only interested in the cash to buy the oxen. Vajri nele Rav Papa lari. Rav Papa gave him back the land. So if Rav Papa gave back land, so what does that indicate? That the sale's not a sale. If the person only sold because he needed the cash for a certain purpose and turned out that purpose wasn't relevant, you see, Rav Papa gave back the property. Mar says no proof. Rav Papa lifnim rishus adinu davar. Halachically, Rav Papa did not have to give back the land, but Rav Papa was a tzaddik, so therefore he did something which is beyond the call of duty, beyond his responsibility. Okay, so there's no proof. Okay. He's like, right, he said he agreed. It was out of goodness of his heart he did it. Toshma. So we still don't have a proof. Ahu batsurta dahavid min erdo. There was a lack of food in their door. Psut doesn't mean it was a famine, but there was a lack of food. How does he say? Food shortage. Okay. Zavinu kuli amla padnayu. So people, they sold their what? Their homes, their mansions, to buy grain, because there was a little amount of grain, so they needed more money to purchase the grain. It went up in price. The sofa, all of a sudden, what happened? The boat arrived. There was a bounty of grain. They sold the house before the boat arrived because there was a short. All of a sudden, the boat showed up with the grain. Yeah? Omadu Rav Nachman dinuhu dahadri apadni lemarayu. Rav Nachman was a dayan. He gave a ruling that whoever bought these mansions, they have to return the money. They have a right to take back the possession of the mansions. That's Rav Nachman's psak. So you have a proof that if they only sold the mansion, their homes, because they needed to purchase the grain, but now that they don't need that amount of money because there's a bounty of grain, there the whole thing was a mistake. What does it mean it was a mistake? The gloy milsa the arvo the kuli have a kaimo. You know what happened? The boat was already almost in town. It got stuck on a sandbar. So because it was there ready, if they would have known, they wouldn't have sold it. You understand? At the time of the sale, the reason why the sale's not a sale is because it already existed, something they weren't aware of at the time when they sold their homes. Right? Stop. But in our situation, what happened? He sold the piece of property because he needed the ox. It turned out he didn't need the oxen. But at the time of the sale, he believed he did need it. It's only something that came about later. Here he's differentiating. Here, at the time of the sale, if he was aware now that the grain was on its way, he wouldn't have sold it. The boat was just delayed because it got caught on a sandbar. The other case that we discussed before, a person sells a piece of property because he thinks he needs a pair of oxen. Turned out, for whatever, he didn't need it later. But at the time of the sale, he did need it. So is that enough to undo the sale? So the cases are not really comparable. She says, if that's the case, no. So the Gemara asks, "Im kain nibses at the machshil losad lovo." What does that mean? How he'll be machshilim losad lovo? What does that mean? He says, if you're going to give this kind of ruling, you're going to be machshir them. You're going to create the stumble block in the future. What's going to be? Yeah, but how does he translate that? Because people. No, the sellers would be afraid to sell because the guy, the buyer, could always back out on him. He says, this is something, if this is something, a common situation, right, we can't do it. We'll have to say, regardless, sale is final, regardless. But since a shortage of food is not a common day thing, it's something which is unusual, therefore, the circumstance, based on circumstance, the sale was not a sale. It's a mekatos. That's what we're saying. It is. There was a mistake. He mistakenly sold the property because he wasn't aware that the barge was on the way. Omalei in betzarta ben Omalei ein betzarta ben nardo. Omalei ein. So he says, you're right. That's the reason. So he says betzarta ben nardo mishka shchicha. He says, but what about a nardo? Nardo, it's not something uncommon that there's a shortage of grain. Yeah. There is a shortage of grain. 1 second. V'chayshinon dilma osi arvi dekaimi bakuli v'odjes vini shmamino taimi shemekachtos have di b'daosu chitim mokum korov o shabo le'elu levadom taimi shum dezovin v'lo etzricho le'zuzi midi lo shchiach v'lekon michshol. Somewhere it says hilso zovin v'lo etzricho le. Yeah, this zuzi hadri v'lo etzricho zuzi hadri zvini. So the Gemara concludes. The halach is, if such a thing happens, I sell you my property. And Tosa speaks, and I reveal to you, I'm selling you the property because I need cash. That much he had to say. If I sell you property, I don't say a word. And later say, oh, by the way, I only sold because I needed the cash. That's what we call Dvar Mishabalev. That's in your mind. Since you never expressed it, you never revealed to any degree, it was purely because you needed the cash, then the sale is final. But the man says, I'm selling the property because I'm pressed, I have to buy something. He said it. That's enough to indicate that if he wouldn't have needed the cash, he wouldn't have sold it. That's the conclusion of the Gemara. This is called Gilu Milsa. He only revealed it to a small degree. It's not a conditional sale. If it would be conditional, it's understood. Right? There's no question. I'm selling you the property if I need money. And if I don't need money, I'm not selling you the property. If we would have said it that way, everybody agrees. There's not even a discussion. It was a conditional sale, right? I'm selling if I could buy the oxen. If I can't buy the oxen, I'm not selling you the property. Okay? Here he just said, I'm selling you the property because I need the money to buy oxen. That's all he said. That's enough, we could say, with assurance, with certainty, that if he wouldn't have, therefore that's the reason why we undo the sale, and he has to give, he gives him back his money. What? Yeah, but that's it has to be written in a legal manner. It's not written in a legal manner. But here we're talking, it's not written. There's nothing. He just expressed himself. It wasn't here. He didn't write it within the legal terms. And did he use the money to do that transaction? But let's say some of these but let's say he didn't. Let's say he didn't. He says, I'm selling my apartment. I'm pressure cash because I have to buy something. Then it fell through. Somebody else went and bought it, or realized afterwards it's something which was a problem. Is your deal undone? That's it. So Gemara concludes it is. It's undone the deal. No, of course they did. No, soon, immediately after. It's something which is imminent, and that's what we're talking about. Yeah, and it seems to be, even though we're not speaking with, there's a lack of food, because the Gemara concludes, you sell anything and you don't need the money, the sale is undone. Almana, everything, right? No. Remember, we had the case before. He sold it because there was a shortage of grain. Says, if that's the case, you complicate it. The whole economic system is being disrupted. So he says, of course, it doesn't happen that often. Even if it's something which is common, we say the sale's undone. It's undone. Almana beimin erison beimin anasuin mocheres. Yep. Almana beimin erison beimin asuin mocheres shlo bebezdin. We allow to sell the property, even not under the supervision of the court. Sell the property. Right? Now, Almana b'nei erison doesn't get mazonos, right? The husband doesn't feed her. So what is she selling? She's selling property to cover a ksuba. Minanasuma cheres, also, we're told that's not only the ksuba, but even mazonos. She could sell, not under the super, she doesn't have to get a release from the court that she could sell. So what's the rationale? You know why? Because sometimes, the state a woman has to be fed. She has to cover her expenses. So some would say, something, you got to get a release from the court. They could tie her up, she'll starve in the meantime. They'll dispossess her in the meantime. So therefore, that's the reason why we allow that even though she doesn't have a release from the court, she could take the property and sell it for that reason. Look, later they claim that she did something illegal. Okay, so they'll make a claim in court against her. But initially, we allow her to transact it. No, she has first claim on it. She has first claim on it. Because the moment they sell it, she can't collect from it anymore. She can't collect her mazonos. Remember, mazonos can't. Ksuba you could collect. But even ksuba we don't let them to sell. We had that earlier. Anything that remains in the sale we don't allow. Why? Because again, it's going to tie her up. When she wants the ksuba, she's going to have to start running after the buyers. They're complicating her life. Salmona bein min ersa min amasuin mocheres shlo bebezdin. Shimon omer min amasuin mocheres shlo bebezdin. If it's after she's fully married, then you sell it even not on supervision. Of course, that's a question of food, right? That's covering her personal expenses. Min ersa lo tim karel bebezdin. Why? Min shein lo mazonos. Kol shein lo mazonos l'sinkre el bebezdin. Because what's ksuba? Ksuba is not a question of her to support her existence. If it's a question of sustenance. She's going to be held up by the court, that the Yisrael will say, go to the court, we don't burden them with that. But if ksuba, something, you have a claim, yeah, it's a financial claim. You're a creditor. A creditor, You go to the court. The court feels you could sell the property, you sell the property. Bishlam minan suin mishum mizoni. Wednesday. If ibn assume why she's selling the property because there's mizonos. Elam in ersim my taimo. Right? Why are we allowing it? Saying phenomenal. Right? Why are we treating her differently than a regular creditor? She's a creditor. Minan ersim. She's only after kedushin. So what is it? She has it's a financial document. So why are we treating her different than a regular balchov? A regular creditor comes, you should go to the court rules, you can collect, you collect. With her, you don't push her around. Why? And that comes as mishum chino. Amr ula mishum chino. You know why? Because if a woman feels you can give her the husband's giving her a hard time to collect, she's not going to get married. A woman say, it's not worthwhile getting married. The type of aggravation you have, it's not worth getting married. And since we want to encourage women to get married, right? Therefore, we make it easy for her. No, she's not. She's gonna collect what she's supposed to collect, right?
No, the woman wants to get married, so she's willing to take the lease.
Tavla meis tam do. That's something else. That's to a point. If it's a question, yeah, but we can't. Here she's being abused. There's a limit up to a certain point. Rabbi Yochanan lefi she'eino imrose shetizbas isha bebezdin. That's the reason. He doesn't want his wife to be. She has to go before the court to collect the ksuba. That's the svara. Okay. My beinayu. So what's the difference if it's mishum chino or it's because of a husband doesn't want his wife to be disgraced? You beinayu grusha. You this? What about if he divorced her? She's a grusha. She's not an almana minerasin. She's a grusha minerasin. Lamandiam mishum chino grushanami boychein. Right? If it's chino, even the grusha needs chein. Mandiam fishing or the brotzich vazi ishto bebez grusha loich paslei. She's his divorcee. Couldn't care less. Yeah, Tanan. Ugrusha lo simkor ela bebezdin. Okay, we learned in the Mishnah. We didn't have this Mishnah yet. A grusha cannot sell only in bezdin. Bishlam man diyam lefisha in odam rotzesh dispazi yishto bebezdin. Grusha lo ichpasleis. It's very good, right? It says a grusha can only sell under the supervision of the court. So if you learn the reason is why normally a wife doesn't need the bezdin because he doesn't want her to be embarrassed, so it's very good. By a grusha, he couldn't care less. She's a grusha. So what does it say in the Mishnah? That a grusha has to sell only once the court gives the release. The Gemara answers, Hamani Reb Shimoni. It's going like Reb Shimon, he doesn't hold the chino. Reb Shimon doesn't hold of it. The lesle chino de gabi almona min ersin bishum del ksuba kabo mezavno lo simke elo bebezdin. It's going like Reb Shimoni, otonle reisha min ersin lo simkor. Sib almona min ersin hud lo nofish chen dido. Aval grusha the nofish chen dido emeti boy chen. Hear this. A woman is a widow, right? So she's not going to be that discouraged from getting married. A woman who was put through the ringer. She was divorced. Here, it says, "Lo nofish chen dido shlo hoiselo chibas bio v'lo yera beini anoshim im hutchkozu." How are we differentiating? So it says, Bishlam man diyam lefi she'eino adam rotzis bas ishum bezdin grusha lo dichbaslei. Ela man diyam mishum chino grusha. There you go. Grusha boy lamich hamani Reb Shimoni. Yochi Reb Hatani Reisha min ersin lo simkor. It says min ersin she cannot sell. A grusha min ersin. Mal the same almona min ersin hud lo nofish chen dido. Ava grusha de novish chen dido emoti boy chen. Right? You hear what he's saying? He's saying, an interesting differentiation. He says, a woman who had relations, and then afterwards she's divorced. You know what you'll say? You'd say because she herself, she's being mistreated. She originally had a life, now she has a woman who never really had a husband. I mean, you were married. You were married halachically, but you never had a relationship with a man. So now, if you have to go to court, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to discourage you from marrying. If you had a relationship, you were married, and now they make complication in your life. You know, this person says, it's not worth getting married, and we want a woman to get married. But a woman who never had relations with her husband because there was no relationship, because it was only Erison, in that situation, it's not sufficient. She's not going to be discouraged about getting married again. That's what it says. It says, Kol she'ein lo mezonos. It says, a woman who doesn't have mezonos, lasui mai, lav lasui grusha, lo lasui mugureshes, vein mugureshes. It's not speaking about a grusha. It says, a woman who doesn't have mezonos, seemingly that lo lasui mugureshes, vein mugureshes. Reb Zera. Amar Reb Zera kol moksha, amar mugureshes, vein mugureshes. Chai b'm mezonos. A woman where it's a question, is she Shmina lo timkor luchsubas el beznen almona shamin le avol agav orcha shamin de mugresh gon zorak lo git sofik yeya yet a case. Let's say a man threw a get to his wife, and it's a question: was it within her 4 cubits or not? So, does the husband have to continue paying her? Let's say how much chevel varaya. He claims she's divorced. She can't get married. So does he have to continue feeding her? He has to continue supporting her. Toshma, because it's a dispute. It's whether she's divorced or not, whether it was within her domain. Toshmak shem shemo cheresh shlo bebezdin. Just as she could sell, it does not be under the auspices of the court. This is for her mazonos or her ksuba. Kach yorshe ksubosa mochne shlo bebezdin. Yet we don't look at her heirs as creditor. Normally, a creditor wants to come take property. You know what happens? The court has to oversee the sale. What about her heirs coming? They come and they're collecting her ksuba. Right? Ksuba's been dichrin. Right? Her assets, they brought into the marriage. Or so forget she dies. Not she dies. No, not Saviget she dies. Not Saviget she dies. Separate case. Now we're talking about a regular woman dies. It says the Yorshim, a regular, right? The father died, now the husband dies. Right? The husband dies, and now the mother dies. She's namona. The kids collect from the estate her mother's ksuba. Now, when they come take the ksuba, and they don't have the ksuba, they take the land. When they sell that land to get cash, does it have to be under the supervision of the court or not? It says no. Because he'd say, why? You're creditors. The kids, when they come, they're coming like the mother. They are the equivalent of the mother. Says the mother wouldn't have to be under the auspices of the court. They'd have to be under the auspices of the court. Okay? Now, Kshem shemocheres shlo bebezdin, kach yorshei ksubos mochner shlo bebezdin. Bishloman diyom lefi shein odam rotze shitzbaz ishto bebezdin. Ke'echad di'i lo necholei tizbazu. Yorshem nami lo necholei tizbazu. Just as he doesn't want his wife to be embarrassed, he doesn't want his children to be embarrassed. Or her children to be embarrassed. Elamandi Omar Mishubchino Yorshem Maichenik. What's chain? If you say it's a woman, the woman, you give her a hard time in court, she's not going to want to get married again. Correct? But this is the heirs. That would speak with the heirs of females, not men. Here. If they're sons, according to this other opinion, it has to be under the auspices of the court. But if it's a daughter or a sister, so if the women see the way they're treated, that it's only through the court, they're not going to want to get married. Therefore, they're able to sell the properties without the supervision of the court. Here it's differentiating. No, the husband wouldn't want his wife to be embarrassed. He doesn't want her children to be embarrassed, right? It's her children to be embarrassed. No, but the other brothers, no. It's going to be divided fairly. The other kids say, no, we want the court to oversee this. That's what they'll say to their brothers. They're half-brothers. They don't share a common mother. They say, maybe you'll do something which you'll take more than you're supposed to take. That's what has to be under. It's, yeah, we say no.
But the women will excuse them.
We excuse them. Right, that's what we're saying. Mocher ksubosa o miktsasa. So part of the ksuba, this is when she was alive. Or the whole ksuba or part of the ksuba. Moshken ksubosa o miktsas ksubosa. Here she gave as collateral the ksuba part of the ksuba. Nosa ksubosa la'acher o miktsasa. She gifted the ksuba. Or part of it, lo simkor es ashar. Ela bebezdin. Now the halacha is when you want to now sell property for the ksuba, now it has to be under the auspices of the court. Yeah? It has to be under the auspices of the court. No, because Reb Shimon, no. The moment we said, until when is a wife supported? Till she was ready to take it. So if she sold the ksuba, so that's the equivalent saying, you know, I'm out of here. So that means the moment Reb Shimon says in the Mishnah, the moment you don't have ksub mazonos, you don't get the you don't. It has to be under the court. That's Reb Shimon's position. This is one like Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon says if any part of the ksuba was given away, the court has to supervise the sale of the property on the balance. Chom omrim mocheres hi afilu arba b'chamisha pomim. She could sell. There's no reason why she shouldn't sell. No. This is after the father died. This is not when he's alive. Umacheres, she could sell 4 or 5. Abocheres mezonos shlo bebezdin, uksu v'koseves mezonos mocharti, ugrusha lo simkar el bezdin. If she's divorced, we only allow her to sell in bezdin. Right? Further, Masisa Monday Rabbi Shimon. Titania Mochro Ksubosa. Mishnah says if she sold the ksub Moshkina Ksubosa, Osa Ksubosa Apoti, Lacher Ein Lo Mazonos. Rabbi Shimon Ome Apish Lo Mochro, Velo Moshkina Ksubosa El Machsisa of the Mazonos. She loses her right to Mazonos. This is after she's widowed. Remember Rabbi Shimon Sovad Lo Ami Mixes Kol Kesef. Rabbanan Sabri Ami Mixes Kol Kesef. Okay, we'll stop here.